John Crowley here from UTV Guide up on the Rubicon. We've brought our brand new Polaris Pro XP. We're going to do some rock crawling, test it out here and see how it does. So our Pro XP is completely stock. This is a premium level, except we've added some 32-inch EFX MotoVator RT tires, and they're mounted on 15-inch KMC Grenade beadlock wheels. So that gives us a little bit more ground clearance than the stock tires. And other than that, it's completely stock. So up front on the Pro XP, it's got arched A-arms, gives you a little bit more clearance than a flat version of the arms, and that's real nice. But if I was going to do some serious rock crawling, that looks a little bit on the thin side to me. I'd go for some aftermarket arms and beef up the strength on that, and maybe put factory UTV A-arm guards on there to help protect the arms as well. On the back end of the Pro XP, the radius links, the lower ones are arched, gives you really good extra clearance, and that's nice that they have those come in stock on this thing. We spent a couple hours on the trail, and I don't have any marks on the bottom of these, which is pretty good. And they're pretty stout. That's a beefy link right there. So I've spent a whole bunch of time in the Turbo S, and I'm going to be comparing the Pro XP to the Turbo S quite a bit. The first thing I was concerned about is the Turbo S has way too tall of a low range. And if you remember, on our 2-seat and also 4-seat, we went into the transmission and dropped the gearing, and that made a huge difference. So I was a bit concerned on this Pro XP as well, because the gearing, I was told, was very similar, if not the same. But this is a completely new clutch. And what I found is, although you can still go really too fast, what I consider too fast in low range, you're able to creepy crawl up and over technical stuff really much better than a Turbo S. So they've got the clutch figured out where it's going to grab that belt better and allow you to go up real slow up and over technical sections without having to back up and cowboy like you do on the Turbo S. So that's a big plus. So on the Pro XP, it's a 6-inch longer wheelbase than the Turbo S. And what they've also done to compensate for that is giving you a tighter turning radius by giving you a sharper, cutting angle on the front tires. So steering wise, getting through tight spots on the Rubicon, you're really able to be nimble and sneak through a lot of the rocks without having to back up. Really like that. And the other piece on the 6-inch longer wheelbase, there was a lot of stair steps where that extra 6 inches makes a lot of difference stability wise. And really felt like the package is nimble while giving you some advantages of the extra wheelbase. So good combination there. So on the bottom side of the Pro XP, the skid plate has really solid coverage front to rear on this. So that's good. It is a little bit thin for hardcore rock crawling, so I would look at adding some factory UTV skids on that, as well as some trailing arm guards, just to save those a bit. And I'm not quite so sure on the trailing arm mount. I don't really like that little piece right there that's holding it up. That just seems like a spot where it's just gonna, if you go over rock, it's just gonna peel that washer and bolt right out of there. It's nice to have it sucked in tight on the frame, but I don't think that's going to last for extreme rock crawling. So again, this is the premium level Pro XP, and it comes with Dynamics suspension. It's been upgraded from the Turbo S, and what we found is the comfort mode is a little bit more plush than you'd find on the Turbo S, and the firm mode is more firm. So just like on the Turbo S, if you put it in firm and you're rock crawling, you're going to gain a little bit of altitude, gives you a little bit more ground clearance, and that's kind of cool. But unlike on the Turbo S, firm mode is a bit more firm, so it's not a very comfortable ride. Now in comfort mode, we did find that it is a little bit more plush in the rocks. We had a pretty spirited ride cruising along, and it wasn't bouncing around too much, but it also felt like it had enough compression resistance, so you're not going to flop all the way through the suspension as well. The other really cool thing on this is the steering wheel adjustability for the dynamics. With these two arrows here, I can go up and down on the firmness. So if I click that once, it's going to get me into the mode here, and here I'll click it again, sport mode, and then firm mode. And that's all controlled right here on the steering wheel. The other thing you can do is this red X button. That's kind of like a pucker button that will immediately take it over to firm mode. So it doesn't really matter that much for rock crawling, but that's super cool in the desert where you're coming up on something real quick and you need to put it in firm. Boom, you hit that and it's in firm mode for a couple seconds. Inside the cab of the Pro XP, you've got way more leg room than you would do in a Turbo S. Seat slider, I've got it all the way back right here, and I've got lots of leg room, very comfortable inside. I'm 6'1", so there's lots of leg room on this. And what makes it really nice is on the Pro XP, you not only have tilt, but you also have a telescoping steering wheel, so that gives you infinite amount of adjustment, allows you to put the steering wheel exactly how you like to drive. And for me, I've got long legs. A lot of times that steering wheel is too far away from me. On the Pro XP, I can set it up exactly how I want. Seats and harnesses on the Pro XP here are pretty comfortable. It comes with a 6-point harness, which I'd rather have a 4-point. It kind of has two different pieces on each of your legs, which is kind of strange, but it is nice to have the retractable harnesses so you're not sucked in tight against the chair all the time. You can look pretty up in front of you and move around without having it bind up on you. Also, you've got these little pathways here, which kind of feel a little strange. It takes a little bit to get used to, but it does allow a little bit more airflow. It helps keep you a little bit cooler. So for a stock seat and harnesses, not bad. It's better than most. The roll cage on the Polaris, if you're thinking about taking one of these and racing King of the Hammers, it does have attachment points down to the frame in all spots. In the back here, it's mounted via this bracket on the B pillar. It's kind of interesting how they do it, but the two different pieces there come down to a horizontal tube which mounts to the frame, which is kind of interesting. And then the front obviously mounts to the frame as well. Stock doors on these, I really wish Polaris would have done something to cover up all these holes. It looks like they're trying to work on styling, but I'd rather have a half door or a full door that covers everything from here all the way down. And on this, you've got some kind of awkward holes here, and then this other one back here. And the lines on this don't make it very, from what I've seen from the aftermarket, I'm not too thrilled about the styling on those. So I wish Polaris would come out with a better coverage on their factory doors. Last thing I did want to cover as well, running through the Rubicon pretty quick in a couple spots. A lot of times in the past, you'll get some squeaks and rattles on the Polaris units, and this one, with the new frame being solid, all one welded piece, it's not bolted together. It really felt like it's a more stable platform and able to get through the stuff without squeaking and rattling and rolling. It just felt stout, much more than in past units. And this is our second time using these tires and wheels. We had them over in the Eastern Sierra doing some rides in a bunch of different terrain, and here in the rocks, I was real happy with the traction we got out of these. Some spots where I thought I would be spinning a tire, we just gripped and went right on up. And I've got 15 pounds in these tires, and they still did really well. So this is a good all-around tire, able to do rock crawling, trail riding, and basically everything in between.